Good morning, guys. So today we are going to talk about the read called Pragmatics and Language Teaching. So let's start with the topics.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about pragmatics in the language classroom. So, as we already know, pragmatics is the study of the relationship between linguistic forms and the users of these forms. But let's talk about how important is to teach pragmatics in the classroom. So, the teaching of pragmatics aims to facilitate the learner's sense of being able to find socially appropriate language for the situations that they encounter. Within second language studies and teaching, pragmatics encompasses speech acts, conversational structure, conversational implication, conversational management, discourse organization, and social linguistic aspects of language use such as choice of address forms. Without instruction, difference in pragmatics show up in the English of learners regardless of their first language background of language proficiency. That is to say, like a learner of high grammatical proficiency will not necessarily show equivalent pragmatic development. Also, classrooms are the ideal place to help learners interpret language use. Instructions can help learners understand when and why certain linguistic practices take place. It can also help learners interpret the input that they hear in both actual comprehension, what does this formula means, and interpretation like how is this used, or what does a speaker who says this hope to accomplish. So let's continue with what can be taught. Due to the development of pragmatic competence is an incremental process, we have to take into account two specific points. First, what can be attained in the short-term goals, and what can we hope to achieve the long-term goals. So it's necessary to be aware of each person who communicates has his or her own vision of the world that he or she will use to understand the message addressed to him or her. This means that, like, the interpretation of any message is something personal, and it all depends on the context. If we manage to understand this, thanks to pragmatics, the communicative act will be successful either is a longer or short time. So let's continue with short-term and long-term goals. Short-term goals for language teachers should be to systematically raise core issues of pragmatics. This is a matter of consciousness raising and noticing. The longer-term goals is that as a result of consistent awareness building, learners will be able to perform L2 pragmatics at least to some degree. These are the short-term goals, raising awareness, noticing strategies, and building receptive pragmatic competence. And teaching of pragmatics long-term goals, building more sophisticated awareness, honing noticing strategies, and building more sophisticated receptive and productive pragmatic competence.
Okay, so now let's talk about teaching politeness. So basically, politeness became a major concern in the field of pragmatics, and it has been widely discussed among pragmaticists ever since. Although there is yet not been an agreement on what would be the best definition for the term, many studies have been focusing on a new revised approach to the matter. Based on the latest criticisms of early theories of politeness, it is possible to establish a context for the teaching of English as a foreign language classroom. Politeness is necessary in our society because we have to fit to the social norms. Otherwise, we wouldn't be accepted. So we have two types of politeness. So the first one is positive politeness. So a positive politeness is an strategy that leads the requester to appeal to a common goal and even friendship by expressions such as dear sir or madam, your faithfully, your sincerely, to whom it may concern. So basically, positive politeness gives a great risk to the speaker of suffering a refusal and may be perceived by some getting to know to talk. So languages varies according to social relationship between the speaker and listener, the writer and the reader, and we need to be ever sensitive to the contextual variables. So next one we have negative politeness. So this is an strategy to assume that you might be imposing on a hearer. Therefore, this also assumes automatically that there might be some social distance. So, for example, we have requests such as, "Can you give some information?" To go deeply, we have to be indirect. For example, "I'm looking for a pen." Then we have to minimize the imposition. For example, "I just want to ask you if I could use your computer." Then, and lastly, we have to pluralize the person responsible. So, "I forgot to tell you that you need to buy your plane ticket." So,
Okay, now we have hedging. This is used to give a soft intention to the sentence. We can use in academic tests and a specific context. It's also for to express ambiguity, probability, or indecision. This is a perceived in both spoken and written English. However, it varies in terms of type and degree. Depending on the type of writing, there may be different degrees or heading. Some forms of heading are adjectives, adverbs, modal, mental, or emotive verbs, and conjunctions. For example, when we answer to a caller we don't know with "I think you have got the wrong number," rather than just wrong number.
okay, so now we go with pragmatic markers. So basically, it's defined as a set of synthetically diverse linguistic items. For example, we have "of course," "surely," "I think," "well," and so on. So basically, these are used for a variety of attenuational and meta-communicative functions, lack conceptual meaning, and whose distinctive properties include indidexically, context dependence, and multifunctionality. So we have the discourse markers. In this section, we have a number of uses. So marks the beginning of a new part of the conversation. So we have a conversation here. So letter A say, "So I've decided I'm going to go to the bank and ask for a kind of loan." B says, "That sounds like a good idea." C says, "Well, you need a car." B says, "Right." And A say again, "Anyway, I was wondering if either you would teach me how to drive." So basically, will mark the mark a response to B. So B is an agreement with C. Anyway marks a shift in the topic from buying a new car to having a drive license. These course markers do not always have meanings that you will find in your dictionary. However, they do have certain functions, and some discussion markers, such as "well," can have a number of functions.
Okay, now we have interactional markers. This is for to make the conversation more interactive and know what the other people say and if the other people understand me. They are the central feature of the conversation. Their main function is a monitors of the part on the part of the speaker of the ongoing delivery of the speech. The speaker used them in an attempt to make a message clear to mark is shared as well if what is an information. Some example are, you know what I mean? I mean you say I mean you say. And the thing is, now we have response tokens. This is referred to short phrases such as yeah, or real. And is when the people want to speak in a short verbal and non-verbal utterances. The listening and the make, by the way, responds to what the speaker is saying. Um, the speaker relies to some degree upon their signals for guidance and how is the message received by the listeners.